that, I would like to introduce Christoph Ono. Christoph Ono, I would say, is an OG. I refer to him as a dinosaur in the space. He was one of the first original people, along with Daniel, who started the Bitcoin Design Guide and Bitcoin Design Community. We've just published our 5-year report. Hundreds of projects that have collaborated with the Bitcoin Design Community over the last 5 years. Christoph is also the co-founder and admin of the Bitcoin Design Foundation. He leads the Bitcoin Design Community as well. And he is also the, what is the correct word? He's the maintainer of quite a few of the important toolkits and resources that we built within the Bitcoin Design Community, such as the Bitcoin Design Guide, the Bitcoin UI Kit. And next to that, he manages to be extremely active and help many, many projects. I often joke with him that there is a clone hiding somewhere on his computer because he seems to be everywhere and anywhere. And with that, I'd like to hand it over to Christoph.
She's totally exaggerating, naturally. So thank you for being here. It is super exciting. I never thought that we would have 5 years ago starting Bitcoin design. It's like, yeah, I'm going to do this. This is exciting. This is cool. This is adventurous. This is a new design space. And now here we are in San Francisco and Presidio, all of you. Designing in Bitcoin is hard. Before I spill my beans, does anyone actually want to share like a scar tissue you have or any thoughts? And I can also jump right in, but if anyone wants to, is something you want to share? Good to go. Cool. And let's hop in. So I use this metaphor on Monday in my other talk as well. The devs solved kind of the double spend problem. We have a pretty awesome protocol. We have a pretty amazing foundation. It's been 15 years, but there's still a massive gap. This bridge, it looks done, goes kind of into the clouds, but in reality, it's not. Right. But I couldn't get AI to actually render a half-full bridge. So it's a complete bridge. So we have a bridge. We have a gap between, the 100 million people that use it today, a protocol, all these things, and several more billion people. And we need to just complete that bridge in the best way possible. And that will require more code, lots more code probably. It will also require design where we can up in. In addition, it also requires people like maybe Kyle over there who focuses on regulation, or people who do translation or localization, who set up local on-ramps and off-ramps and all kinds of different people. But we're going to talk about design, but it will require a lot of people. So because we want this whole thing, we want the sovereignty, we want it to be usable, and we want what's technically possible actually livable in everyday life. That's kind of what we're shooting for. So why is it so difficult? And how can we actually turn that around and turn it into possibilities? And what can we actually do about it? That's the big question. And I'd always like to zoom out. There are a lot of times the conversations start very technical, right? But I like to zoom out. And I think it's ridiculous what we're actually trying to do. The ambition of Bitcoin it's insane. I'm still, early on when I learned more about this, I was like, well, this actually works. This is a real thing. The internet technology can do this. And this network runs with everyone in the world trying to hack it and attack it and break it and manipulate it, but it actually works. And we want to make this usable for all the people around the world. So, for example, I'm sure a lot of people here are from different countries. You've traveled, you've done foreign exchange, you paid in other type of places. I sometimes, when I'm in the subway, I always like to look over people's shoulders and see what they do on their phones, how they use them. And, or sometimes like no one's on their phone. I'm trying to imagine like, who is this person? What's their life like? And if we think about all these other people, if we put ourselves in those shoes, do you think we can get them to use Bitcoin? Is it going to improve their lives? Is that a real thing? Right? I just think the ambition is just so staggering. But maybe if we all chip in together, if, this global Bitcoin community, if we're all super smart and work together really well, maybe we can do it. So let's see. The other part that makes it really difficult is money. Going back to even the Bible says, what was it? The desire for money is a root of all kinds of evil. And then Notorious B.I.G. said, more money, more problems. And related, I guess. And then you have people like 50 Cent. I don't know, he's losing value, getting inflated the way maybe needs to change his name at some point. So money is a huge problematic thing. I don't know about you. Do Do you have your household finances under control? Everyone? Perfectly? You feel comfortable doing that, doing taxes? Do you have your retirement savings all lined up? Are you comfortable speaking with your colleagues, your family about money, about how much you earn? Are you comfortable with how much you earn? Money is a deeply personal thing. It's a very complicated thing. It's something we have all kinds of feelings about. For some people, it's like the score in life, in society. I have more, I'm the better person. And I think actually there's some religious groups that say that, if you're a good person, God will treat you well. So being rich means you're a good person, which is that's a real thing, right? And for other people, money is like a sign of, being a bad person in some way, like you're extracting value from society. So it's just this deeply, deeply complicated thing that touches all of us. And that's something that we're trying to create. If I want to create a new table like this, right? Much easier. No one feels really, deeply about tables, maybe something. But money is something really, really personal. And that's also one of those difficulties. Then the other thing is we're not Web 2.0. Web 2.0 was about convenience, data extraction, and centralization. And that's why the term Web 3 that's being used in crypto doesn't really make sense. Web 5 doesn't always possibly make sense. We wonder what happened to that. It was fun though, because we're trying to do something different. It's like an alternative. It's like a counter movement. But we're all trained for Web 2 with all of our phones, our devices, our social media, everything works into it, right? But we want sovereignty, we want censorship resistant, and we want resilience, right? So we're going against kind of what we've been trained for about how we know technology works. And then the Bitcoin's not done, right? We want Bitcoin to be the Usain Bolt, like just powerful, fast, fun, cool guy. But we kind of have a little toddler in front of us. And maybe he's dreaming of being the next Usain Bolt. But, you have to make the sequence of, crawling, walking, maybe running, and then like 20 years of intense practice and having good physique that you're born with. And then you can maybe be Usain Bolt. So we're kind of, a similar metaphor is like, we're trying to fly with while building the airplane mid-air type of thing. So there's a lot of emerging properties. We have like somebody here from Spark. They're building a new network there that recently went live. And you just never know how these things work out. Yes, with something, I'm sure Stephen can talk about the Lightning Network, how that's kind of evolved. You have to feel out these properties and how these networks behave and how people react to them. So we have no safety nets. No one. If you lose your seed phrase, you can't call anyone. You tell people like, yeah, this is money. You should put your life savings in there, but I'm not responsible. No one is responsible. So you're on your own. It's such a weird thing, right? And no undo button, no customer support, no central authority. So for design, that just means that this is mission critical, right? It's absolutely essential and cannot fail. And that puts us in an adversarial environment. If you have money in your pocket, right? Someone around you can maybe steal it. If you have money in your bank, right? That's a thing. But this is a publicly exposed network. And your transactions, despite being pseudonymous, they're publicly exposed. And in North Korea, everyone's trying to hack it. Everyone's trying to manipulate it. And that's also something we're just not used to. No one moderates. There's no moderation team or a customer support team, like I mentioned. Then the global inclusive part, which I already earlier kind of mentioned. An interesting thing here is that the protocol as a set of rules, does not know any boundaries. Similarities, thinking about maybe email, right? It's just a thing, and everyone can adopt it. But the thing is, email doesn't touch local regulation. It doesn't touch local fiat currencies and on and off ramps. But Bitcoin does. It is money. So at a protocol level, a technical level, it is kind of global and neutral and just there. But the closer it touches people, even some of the infrastructure, like the LSPs or so that facilitate Lightnings, that need a business model, and then the end user, it gets closer and closer tied into local cultures, into local regulations, in governments that maybe are very open, or maybe governments that really try to block it and control it. China, very tight control of everything that people do digitally. Another fun fact, right? It's getting easier and easier here. Then we throw, recovery phrases at people, self-custody, payment protocols, Sats versus Bitcoin. There are a lot of very unfamiliar things that we want people to get used to. It's a new language for money. And we see some patterns in some of these things. I wrote down 3 here. There are probably more of them. We have the simplicity versus the resilience, familiarity versus novelty, sovereignty versus safety nets. Could potentially add something around privacy versus transparency, or the what do you call that? You can verify things. They are now important. But that's something that we'll all dig into, and some of these tensions will probably surface, and they might play out very differently in different types of products based on what you're trying to do. But designing for the hardcore Bitcoiner is very different for someone who just casually uses it with the payments. And I'm sure if you've used Bitcoin, you felt like that. I know, did I really write that copy that address correctly? Should I send money there? Maybe a first moment where you didn't just put $5, but it was something meaningful that would be painful to lose, right? And that's the thing in the end. Like, how should people feel about this? It should feel magical. It should feel empowering. It should feel powerful. It should feel safe. It should be, familiar in a way. We don't want this. We don't want this kind of reaction. Yeah. Now that saying how hard all of this stuff is, I think, and assume everyone here likes hard challenges. That's what makes it valuable, that makes it worthwhile, that makes it worth fighting for and investing time in. Bitcoin can be incredibly slow moving. It is a generational, or maybe possibly a multi-generational change, if it all pans out as we think. 5-7 years ago, it felt super risky, like the store of value type of things. Only now feels kind of like, yeah, you've got that. Where several years ago, the whole thing. And I'm sure 10 years ago, when we were around, I'm sure it was completely different, like a hobbyist thing where no one thought, no one had any, maybe they didn't even have much hope that it didn't turn into what it is today, right? But we like hard things, For me personally, that's why I also like pushing on all this stuff. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes if you're making a difference in the larger space, because it's such a bottoms-up, community-focused thing. But I really think it's something worth digging into. And like I mentioned before, the double spin problem solved. We need designers. We need to dig into, we need to build that bridge like all the way from the end. We need to understand some of the technology. We need to understand some of the global issues, understand some of the psychology of everything, and then just kind of mash it all up, make something cool. And that's what today is going to be. We're probably going to sketch some UI, vibe some UI, but we're also going to dig really, really deep into some of these difficult things. So let's go.
Thank you, Christoph.